What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of This is Difficult Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Zach from Another Letdown Media. I'm here on Paul Ryugami-san's channel, and we are without a Josh today.
Yep.
Paul, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. How are you?
We've been moving all weekend, so like every muscle in my body is destroyed, and I'm tired and sniffly because we've kicked up so much dust. And like I moved the extra tower that I have for my computer stuff out of the way, and just a giant cloud of dust in my face a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? This is where we're at, right? I'm about to sit down and do a podcast, and my nose is dripping everywhere. I'm gonna have to mute the mic every 5 seconds and wipe my face off.
Dude.
But other than that, like, I'm happy to be moving, man.
For sure.
Office has been this office. This is by the way, this is the final broadcast coming out of Studio C. Like, this is it. This is the last one.
Is Studio C the name of your apartment, or are you just calling
my office?
Your office Studio C? Okay.
Studio A was so Another Letdown was started by myself and my two buddies. Mm-hmm. Studio A was their parents' basement, and we had that from high school, so 2004 to about 2012, I think. And then Studio B was the place where they currently live. But it was like the attic part. Right. And then Paul, my other buddy Paul.
You have more married. Pauls?
Yeah, that's too many Pauls.
How dare you?
Paul the Strictly Lesser, let's put it that way. And he got married, and he and his spouse took over the second half of the basically where we had been filming. So that just kind of stopped. And then my old apartment was not big enough to be considered a studio because we couldn't use it for any purpose at all. Mm-hmm. And so it just became the editing bunker. And then this space, once we had the table and the shelves and stuff, and it was actually a livable space other than the green screen being in the way, became Studio C. And so my new office will probably just become Studio D.
There you go, Studio D. Perfect.
Yep. Because I am bad at names. Naming is difficult.
Naming is difficult. Dude, that's why this show is called what it is, because we couldn't think of a proper name for it. Literally, because naming is difficult. We're like, oh, this is difficult. Oh, okay, yeah, let's just call it that.
There's our name.
Cool, yeah, dude, I can relate with the dust thing. Like, anytime I, like, decide I need to, like, clean the dust out of my desktop, or, you know, even just, like, you know, blow all the dust off my desk itself and my monitors and stuff. I'm just like, yeah, it's awful. Did you play any games this week?
Made a little bit more progress in Arkham Knight.
Excellent.
Mostly on the last couple of side quests. We are closing in on the end. And Chamali really wants me, our producer Chamali really wants me to 100% that game. And I got to be honest with you, I can't be arsed to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, the Batmobile segments are just miserable. They're utterly miserable. If I was sitting down, like a few months ago, I sat down and played the Grand Tour game, which was awesome. Yeah. And it's the same controls. It's literally exactly the same, except for the fact that you're not fighting off hordes of remote drones with a gun that barely ever hits. And you're not trying to, there's just like stealth missions in it. Like, you're driving a flipping tank.
Stealth missions in the Batmobile.
Stealthy in the Batmobile.
Okay.
That's not what it's designed for.
Right. That's definitely not what it's designed for. But you think about, like, you know, people that do stakeouts or like, not police chases, but like follow motherfuckers. But still, like, there's like, those cars are usually like unmarked police cars. They look like regular ass cars, not the fucking Batmobile.
They're not a damn tank.
They're like looking in their rearview mirror. They're like, oh, that's weird. There's a Batmobile two cars back. That's
right. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll get more into that when I review the game. But like, I really wanted to 100% it on stream, and I just don't think I can.
Yeah.
I just don't think I can.
I feel you. Did you play anything else?
A couple of just like random Game Boy things as they came across my desk. I found I just want to kind of make sure that they were working. And same, actually, I found Sonic for Game Gear. Ooh. And I played that briefly. Just as it's my sister's Game Gear, and she asked me to do some repair work to it. The screen's kind of jank. But I just wanted to make sure I hadn't completely borked it beyond repair.
Did I send you the
Yes.
some of those repair? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's what I've been following, and I just ran out of time.
Mhm.
So it was like in halves, and I was like, I wonder if this will work. I popped the cartridge in, turned it on, and I'm like holding half a Game Gear and
That's
playing
hilarious.
it. It was really funny. So yeah, that's about it. Just mostly because of moving. I just haven't had any bandwidth to do anything else. How about you?
I did play some games. I on the Game Boy Advance, because I've just been messing with my Game Boys a lot lately too. I started playing a little bit of Sword of Mana, which is, it's weird because when they talk about the Mana series, even when they came out with the Mana collection, that was like conspicuously missing.
Yeah, well, I never really understood that.
Yeah, and I was like, God, I swear there's a Mana game on Game Boy Advance. But anyway, it's a cool game so far. I'm not super far into it. I have played further into it in the past, but that was years ago. I was like a teenager, and I have not played it since. So like I don't have like a ton of recollection of what's going on in the game. I also played a little bit of Mario and Luigi Superstars, which is the the Paper Mario RPG incarnation on the Game Boy Advance. And it's fun, but I gotta say, and I feel this way about all, except for the first one, except for Mario RPG. I think actually Mario RPG does a good job of actually feeling like an RPG. I think the rest of them, and I know I'm gonna offend some people.
You're gonna offend Josh.
Conveniently, Josh is missing.
Like,
and
am I just morally obligated to be like, what?
Yeah.
No, it's like the best game ever.
And Colin's on the road, so he can't bitch at me about it either. So, someone will have to clip it and send this to him. But I feel like those games are baby's first RPG.
Yes.
Like, and that's not necessarily a knock on them.
No, I really don't think it is at all. I think it's just an observation. It's like we grew up with Mario as like the baseline. That was the first game that I'd ever played.
Yeah.
It was Super Nintendo one, Super Mario World.
Right.
And like that was my introduction to gaming. Mm-hmm. And so much of where I am as a gamer stems from that. Yeah. So it does stand to reason on some level that, okay, here's Mario RPG, here's a new concept. Mm-hmm. Let's introduce people to the world of RPGs via Mario. And so therefore it should be baby's first RPG.
Yeah, Mario in and of itself, like the Mario series, is not baby's first Mario game. You know what I mean? Like the Mario games are simple in concept, but incredibly difficult games.
Yes,
just about all of them.
Platformer.
Okay, sure.
Like if you go from Mario to Mega Man, you're in for. Sorry, if you dive in on Mega Man for your first game ever, you're in for a very rude awakening. But if you start with Mario and get the basics down, or even like going from Mario to what's another simple platformer, Rayman, like in terms of concept, not in terms of execution. Mm-hmm. Like I keep coming back to Rayman because like I have these rose-colored glasses for that game, but I never got very far into it. So I'm like, anyway, I digress.
I thought about loading it up on the Advance. I didn't, but thought about it.
One of these days I want to try it again. But if you go, if you dive in on almost any other platformer, mm-hmm. you're in for a steep learning curve. If you dive in on Mario first, you get the basics down, you understand jumping and the mechanics involved, and you're golden.
Well, and that's because those, Mario, I think is a masterclass in design as far as like how to teach someone how to play a video game without saying anything.
Right. Yes.
So, not many games really do that. In fact, I can't really think of any that have like a, as well-defined like instructions without there being any instructions. You know what I'm saying? Most games like give you a deliberate tutorial or whatever.
Right.
But like you can hand a Nintendo controller to anyone and pop in Mario, and they're gonna be able to decipher that game pretty quickly. You know, they're going to be able to figure out the basics of how the game works. You know, because it's designed to do that. So, but anyway, the whole point is that they just feel very dumbed down. And if you're looking for an actual RPG experience,
yeah, that's probably not.
That's not really what you want. If you're looking for just a fun, lighthearted jaunt in Mario, you know, land with a different twist, with a different, you know, mechanic and stuff, great games, you know. But if you're looking for, because like another example is, you know, Colin and Josh, when I did my Paper Mario playthrough, Thousand Year Door or whatever, they're like, oh, you know, just wait till you get to this part. It gets really hard. And like, there wasn't a single moment in that entire game where I felt challenged at all.
Yeah.
You know, they're not challenging games, but they're not, you know, that's not the focus of them.
Right.
So, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, if, like I said, if you're looking for an RPG, maybe play something else. If you're looking for, you know, like a fun Mario story, lighthearted, funny writing, things like that, you know, that's relaxed, cute characters, and you can play it in a relaxed manner. That's one like huge benefit to those games, I think, is that you can basically just relax as you play through them. You know, there's never like a stressful moment or a moment where you feel tilted or a moment where you feel like you really need to grind or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
So, I
Very
think that's good. But anyway, played that. Not a lot of it, but I got into it, played like the first couple areas. So that's fun. I'll probably continue to play that and Sword of Mana as well. Just kind of, you know,
it's those casual
time, you know, when I'm bored, you know, at my desk during work, or like if I need to take a poop or something. You know what I'm saying?
God, I'm so jealous that you get to freaking fart around on your Game Boy
while working.
Sitting there. Yeah. Like I'm sitting there arguing with unreasonable children.
Yeah, kids suck, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm kidding. Well, I'm half kidding. Anyway, I also played, you know, we had Samurai Saturday, so dug a little more into the expansion for Ghost of Tsushima, which we're going to kind of actually talk about this a little more in a segment later on. But I do really, really like the expansion so far. I think I'm probably halfway through it, maybe a little more than. I don't think it's a very long expansion, but it's good. It's very good so far.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty short.
Mm-hmm. And then
really, really good.
Yeah, I think probably, you know, people say you could get through the content in around 4 hours, which I've spent more than 4 hours in it on stream in total so far. And I think I'm probably about halfway through, but I'm doing a lot of extra stuff. You know, I'm not just like plowing through the content. So,
yeah, you're doing it the way. I mean, that is fairly bog standard for the two of us in terms of our streams. We want to dig deep on kind of everything that's offered.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, like I find that, but even Josh on some level, like, you know, he likes nuance in certain games, but he also likes to be very good at games. So.
We got a quick question in the chat. Let's see. It wasn't shown in the Nintendo Direct, but it was shown at E3. But are either of you excited for the Dragon Quest III remake being done in Octopath Traveler engine? Yes. Absolutely yes. I think that looks gorgeous. I think they should remake all old RPGs in that style. It's absolutely. I think it's fantastic.
By the way, Mirage Leonardo 84, love that handle. Giant Ninja Turtles fan from New Hampshire. It's where they started.
There you go. Perfect. So back on track with what we played this week. The highlight of my week was Kena, Bridge of Spirits, which was just released the other day. Actually, I don't remember what date it was. Whatever Wednesday was. I think the 23rd.
Maybe
something.
I could probably check that. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's fact check. No, 22nd.
22nd. Okay. So
Marvelous, I fact check us on dates.
It came out that day. And I wasn't going to get it because I was like, my next game that I'm going to play all the way through is going to be Metroid Dread, blah blah blah. But I was sitting there thinking like I don't have a game right now, and I want to play something. Oh, actually, you know what? It was Tuesday, so I guess the 21st. Because Adam came over for. Oh, that's another game I played.
Right.
Fight and Rage. I played is a brawler that Adam and I played for Brawler Bros on Wednesday. That was a lot of fun.
I'm so excited for that to come back, for that to be back. Like, I can't wait to play more. The Streets of Rage with you guys was such a blast.
Yeah,
I cannot wait for more of that.
So we should be able to theoretically, if Adam's here, we can, have one person parsec in and do that. So we can have 3-person Brawler Bros. I think that will be awesome. But anyway, Kena, Bridge of Spirits. This game is technically, it's technically a indie game. But if you look at it, it doesn't look like a freaking indie game. It's one of the most gorgeous games I've ever seen in my life. And the reason for that is the company that made it, which I don't know off the top of my head, probably should have looked this up. This is their first game ever, which is also a freaking, Herculean feat.
How?
Bro, I don't know.
How?
But
It's
they
so
are
pretty.
so they are an animation studio turned game developers.
Okay.
And what you probably have seen of theirs is a few years ago, I think it was 2016, they came out with a Majora's Mask video.
Oh,
And
that was them?
That was them. And it's awesome. I played a little bit of it on my stream the other day. It's freaking incredible when I was
so cool.
But I'm not super far in Kena yet, but I'm telling you right now, if it keeps delivering the way it is, that's probably going to be my pick for Game of the Year. It's fantastic.
Nice. God, I got to start thinking about it. We're almost in October. I got to start thinking about that.
Yeah.
You think that's going to beat out Dread?
I don't know. I do love Metroid games, and Leonardo in the chat brought up Metroid Zero Mission. I recently beat that as well, and I love that. I love Metroid games. Here's my concern for Metroid Dread. My concern for Metroid Dread is that it's going to be too similar to the both the remake of Metroid 2, which I've got, valid reason for that concern because they did the remake. And I'm not knocking that. I think they did an incredible remake, but I'll get to my point here in a sec. Or Metroid Fusion, which is also my favorite Metroid game. But the reason I bring those two games up is because they, and we talked about this last week when we were talking about subtext. They kind of removed all the subtext from those games and put the story in the forefront, which is fine, but and there is good story, but part of what I love about the Metroid series is that desolation and that dread and that the subtext, like you get the story by playing the game without it telling you what's going on, and I think that's really, really beautiful. And my fear is it's going to do that, and again, Metroid Fusion's Fusion is my favorite. So it's not that it's going to be bad or that it's, whatever. But I don't know that if it is like that, if it will be my game of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Whereas Kena so far has just blown away my expectations on every level, and I'm really loving it. So, we'll see. We shall see.
I mean, there's still a few months left. We'll definitely see.
Yeah. But yeah, that about wraps up what I played this week. Do you want to talk about the Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, let's do that. That was so exciting. So, Nintendo Direct dropped on Thursday night at the same time as my Arkham Knight stream. Yeah. So Paul and his brother Adam and our producer Chamali all hopped in the chat. And you can find our live reactions to that. I'm actually uploading it to YouTube as we speak. So youtube.com/another letdown CF. You'll be able to find that replay and watch me be absolutely terrible at Batman while we react to this Nintendo, because I'm playing Batman and I'm not looking at it.
Yeah. And I also said fuck too many times on a stream.
Yes, you did.
My bad.
Well, and by that being once.
Yeah.
You only slipped up once. We
I think I
sarcastically
dropped a
languished
couple
to a
S's. I think I dropped
Yes,
a
you did.
couple S
Yeah, you
bombs.
did. There were two.
Yeah, you counted.
All things considered, you did a really good job.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
people, so most people like who are used to, not being censored on stream, struggle a bit.
Yeah.
Like Adam struggled, his first time on my show. Candace definitely struggled a lot. Like she had a really tough time.
Yeah.
But no, I mean you did a good job.
Well, it's funny because I know how to separate that brain, because I coached children for a long time, and I never swore in front of the kids. There were other coaches that would, but I would not. Not my style. And so, and like when I'm around, people's kids, I can do the same thing. If that's something that they're concerned about. But yeah, on stream for some reason it just doesn't click. Like,
it's a tough headspace to get into because games frustrate us.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and we've talked about this on the show. We'll go back to episode whatever it was and find that. I have a whole bank, like it's literally open in a tab on my computer all the time. It's just a list of substitute words to use when I'm frustrated.
That's actually fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. Actually, there's a Twitter account that I follow. It's Susie Dent. She's a lexicographer from the UK, and she posts her words of the day are often just substitute swear words.
Oh wow!
And she's very funny about it.
Very cool. All right, so let's talk about the direct. Do you want to just do this in order of how they came?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it because
So the first thing we saw was Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak DLC expansion teaser. That's coming out summer of 2022. Looks really cool.
Which surprised us a little bit because we thought this was supposed to be like a winter direct.
They did say we're talking about games coming out this winter, and that wording seemed pretty intentional, as though some people thought, oh, holiday season this year, and I was like, I was very quick to be like, yo, Nintendo's
winter encompasses all the way to March, guys.
Exactly. So, but yeah, they're talking about summer stuff, so which is fine. It looks cool. I don't own Monster Hunter Rise. I do love Monster Hunter games, but those are games that I have to have like someone holding my hand because I'm an idiot. So I'm a
big damn dummy in that
game,
so.
I probably won't get that, but it does look very good.
It's cool.
I'll say that. Mario Party Superstars was next, which is the kind of remake of the first three Mario Parties, or kind of like a remix of the first three.
It's a reimagining of the first three.
Yeah. Which is cool.
I'm very excited about that.
A lot of people are excited about it. I hate Mario Party. To me, it's Nintendo's monopoly, like.
Yeah,
but,
it is. It is exactly that. Yeah. But at the same time, it's good fodder that, like, I can buy that game, bring it over to my sister's house, play with, myself and Amanda and her husband, and both the 13-year-old and the 6-year-old, and everybody has a great time.
Yeah.
It's an all ages, all fun game. And you kind of get mad at each other. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure. So that's coming out October 29th. So that's soon.
Yep. So it's right around the corner.
Yeah. Then we had Voice of Cards, The Isle of Dragon Roar, which looks like a card-based RPG. Is that what you got from it?
It looks like Pokemon trading card game with RPG elements. I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks. Yeah, actually, that's a good analogy. It looks like Pokemon the trading card game, the Game Boy game.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So it that's coming out October 28th, and there's a demo available now. Cool.
Yep. Go check it out. I might. It looks kind of neat, and I probably won't play the whole thing, but really good to know about.
Disco Elysium was next, the Final Cut trailer, which this is not a new game, but it's this Final Cut is new to Nintendo Switch, so I think that's why they did that. Coming out October 12th as a digital release. Then we got Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion pass trailer. That's coming October 29th. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember what was the bulk of what was in there. I know there's a new character. But as for what else they're delivering. Yeah. I do like that game. I should say.
It's cool.
I think that and I've been playing some other Warriors games recently, and I think the Warriors series has come a long way, and those games are actually worth playing now. I
Yes.
feel like a lot of people, including myself, have slept on them for a while because for a while it was just the same thing regurgitated over and over again.
I remember college being very intoxicated and watching my brother, my buddy, play Gundam Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
And those games were great. Very entertaining.
Yeah, they're fun.
Like,
but they started to get old because it was like the same thing, So, but I do think they've come a long way. So if you've been away from the Warriors series for a while, it might be worth dipping back in and checking that out. And I do have, I'm going to be reviewing Samurai Warriors 5 here soon. Not tonight, but I will be reviewing that. So yeah, we can talk more about that then. Chocobo GP, which is
it's a cute Final Fantasy kart racer.
Exactly.
Why not?
Yeah, it looks fun.
It's a giant why not. It looks fun. Looks silly.
And that's coming out 2022. They didn't say when. There was a teaser there was an announcement for the final Smash character.
I feel like the last 4 characters they've added for that game were the final character.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny about that too is they did this announcement, but they didn't even say when the announcement was coming. So, whatever. All right. Thanks for that.
Monumentally stupid Nintendo.
Yeah. Blah 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 blah. This one was a big one. This next one.
So cool. Kirby in the Forgotten Land.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna stomp on your toes and announce that.
You're good. You're good.
So cool.
This was leaked like hours before the release, and the leak looked suspect. In fact, the other game that was listed in the leak did not show up in this direct, which is why I thought it was bullshit.
What even was it? Like it was really stupid.
Sounded dumb. I don't know.
Because it was.
Yeah, if you can find the picture, it's in our Discord somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a fully 3D. It's the first that I'm aware of, like fully 3D mainline Kirby game. And it's got, kind of a Mario Odyssey vibe to it, but in the Kirby world, which I'm very excited about. It looks gorgeous. It looks fun. It's coming spring 2022 is the release window, which is, fairly soon. So that's something to be excited about. Yeah. Very excited about that. Kind of like a post-apocalyptic looking Kirby game, It's cool. Yeah. So, very excited about that. Then we had Animal Crossing New Horizons announcement for an announcement. There's a direct coming for that in October.
Which I won't watch.
4 new content in November, and could not give a shit about that.
Yeah, no, not a thing for me.
Mario Golf update, free thing that released the day of, free DLC, a couple new maps, I believe. Disney's Magical World 2 Enhanced Edition trailer. That's coming out this holiday. I didn't pay too much attention to that, not gonna lie.
I think we were still talking about Kirby at that point.
I think we were. I think we're on a Kirby now.
Yeah, they gave us Kirby, and then they gave us like 4 things we don't care about.
Yeah. So we're gonna rapid fire these ones. You had like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which it's the old one, not the remake, right? So there's trailers for that. You had Dying Light 2, Stay Human cloud version. I didn't even realize this was a cloud version, but interesting. Because they've got a couple other games in the cloud version. That's coming in February. Dying Light Platinum Edition, not cloud version, is coming October 19th. Now, in the chat, Mirage Leonardo brought up Octopath Traveler. They gave us another trailer for Triangle Strategy, which is the same style, same company, I believe, that made Octopath. Only this time it's in like a Final Fantasy Tactics style, which is very cool. So that looks good. That's coming in March. We got another trailer for Metroid Dread, which I felt was very unnecessary because it's coming out so soon. And I didn't
No.
want to see more
So-
of the game yet, you know?
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's where I get with trailers is like, at some point they cease to be like teasers. And
Yeah, they
then
cease
become
to be
spoilers.
hype and they become spoilers. Yeah.
And this is where this is why I haven't watched trailers even in the movies for years.
Spoilers
Because
don't really bother me, but I can
It's-
understand why people are bothered by them. Yeah.
I don't really care if something's spoiled, but if I can avoid it, I like to.
Sure.
Like that's kind of where I fall on it.
Sure. So this was another banger, this next one. And this came out of nowhere, especially because people were making all sorts of predictions about what the next Nintendo Online stuff was going to be.
Yes.
Most people were predicting Game Boy, and not even Game Boy Advance, just Game Boy. We definitely were as well. But they come out swinging with N64.
N64,
which
Josh
is
and
huge.
I absolutely lost, or actually all of us,
completely
lost our minds.
Yeah, we were screaming.
You know, just like I dropped my controller in my lap, threw my hands up on my head. It was like, what?
Yep.
And my chat, like, you know, half my chat was watching along, and the other half was like, what did we miss? What did we miss? Yeah. I'm like, Nintendo 64 is coming to the Switch.
Yeah, that's big, I think. Now, you do have to pay more for it with the online membership, but it's probably not going to be much. And to me, it's like, probably worth it.
Yeah.
And then they came out.
Icing on the cake.
Yeah.
They gave us Sega Genesis also.
Exactly. Which, who saw that coming? I think that's really cool. I'm happy about that. In addition to that, you have the option to purchase, if you're a Switch Online member, wireless Nintendo 64 and a wireless Genesis controller for your Switch, which is cool.
Nobody wants because nobody needs.
I'll probably get the Sega one.
But I'll probably get the Sega.
I'll probably get the Sega one. I will definitely not get the N64 controller because I think that's the shittiest controller ever made.
It's the worst controller design in the history of video games.
It's trash. So I'm not going to get that.
You could make a case for the original Xbox controller being pretty bad too, but I don't think
so.
It's that
the
bad.
original Xbox controller was just too big. It was like the size of a house, but at least it was a functional controller, you know?
Well, I mean, if a controller's the size of a house, Dreamcast had a pretty awful one too, but
not as big as that one. And Dreamcast, while it was big, it was very ergonomic, and you had the VMU, which was really cool. So Dreamcast is one of my favorite controllers.
I love the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I will always have a soft spot for the Dreamcast. We had one in college and it was great.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, I think the part of the problem is the Xbox controller was big and heavy.
Yeah. You know what though? It probably would be valuable to bring something like that back so people are getting a little bit of a workout while they're gaming. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Hyperkin's done it.
Yeah.
There is an Xbox Series X controller that is the original lump controller.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's either a Series X or Xbox One. I'm not sure.
That's funny. While you're doing that, I'll keep going here. After that announcement,
or $65 for it is Xbox One.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go. The Shadow Run Trilogy is coming. It looks remastered. And this is kind of like your classic Cyberpunk, kind of like the original Cyberpunk game. Anyway, I can't think of a Cyberpunk other than the Cyberpunk tabletop game, like pen and paper game.
Which isn't that just Shadowrun?
No, it's called Cyberpunk.
Well, no,
there may be a Shadowrun one too, but I think the original one is called Cyberpunk.
No, what's it called? There is one called Cyberpunk. There's a tabletop RPG called Cyberpunk.
Pretty sure that's the original.
But there's another one that I can't think of. I don't know. It's not important.
That's okay. Anyway, so that'll be cool if you're into those games, especially if you felt like you needed more out of Cyberpunk 2077. Go check those games out.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely a different style, but it should give you the that Cyberpunk hitter that you're needing. The next one is a good one as well. Castlevania Advance Collection. This is the all the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games, which are fucking excellent. They're
Yes.
absolutely excellent. I think some of the best Castlevania games there are.
Oh yeah. Without a question.
Very good.
Game Boy Advance, man. Like,
It's an awesome handheld. It might be my favorite handheld.
I think it is. I think it is my favorite.
Then we get ActRaiser Renaissance, which is a remaster of the original ActRaiser game. Looks very cool. Seems like there's some quality of life stuff thrown in there, maybe a couple extra features. My brother was very excited about that. ActRaiser is one of his favorite games. I've not played it myself, but it looks cool. Deltarune Chapter 1 and 2. These are, I think these are like do you know anything about these?
I know absolutely nothing about that. I mean, Adam was super excited about ActRaiser.
So
I think we talked about that.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the Deltarune games are like oh no, I'm thinking of Rune Factory. Never mind. I was gonna say they're like Harvest Moon, but with more like RPG elements in there, including like combat and stuff. I don't. All right. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really blanking on Deltarune, so I apologize for that. There was an indie game sizzle reel, which is fine. That's cool. The Mario movie announcement with the cast.
Very polarizing. Most of that cast was absolute fire.
Yeah.
Like, you've got Charlie Day as Luigi. Like, how could you have a more perfect
I think that's
casting?
perfect, yeah.
But like, and Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach.
Yeah, that's a good choice, honestly.
I mean,
it's not something I would have ever thought of, but I think it's an excellent choice.
It's an excellent choice. Jack Black, I believe, is Bowser.
Yep. Fantastic.
I think that's fantastic, but there's also like, if you watch back my stream from last night, my painting buddy Mike said his wife is a little concerned about that because she doesn't believe that that Jack Black can bring the, Bowser's the father of all these Koopa kids gravitas. But I'm like, that's not.
Clearly he's never played, or she's never played a Paper Mario game.
I know, right?
Like I think that fits perfectly if that's the kind of goofy style they're going for.
Who else did they have?
Chris Pratt as Mario.
Oh, yeah.
That's an interesting choice.
Mario.
That seemed like
that's a bold choice because, and they confirmed that Charles Martinet will be in the movie, and I'm like,
doing like cameos.
That seems It's
a weird choice. Well, so I don't know. Here's the thing. I love Chris Pratt. I think he's great.
I think he's very funny.
Yeah, and I think he's very funny. I've never heard him really do voice work.
He did he did a movie with Tom Holland for Disney, and he was actually very. Isn't
he also in the Lego movies too?
Yeah, he's in the Lego movies, of course.
I've not seen those, but
they're so good.
Okay,
he's a really good voice. He's very good as a voice actor.
Okay, so maybe maybe it'll be fine. I just like when I hear Chris Pratt's voice and see him in movies, like my first thought is never he'd make an awesome Mario.
Right? Especially when you have the Mario guy.
Yeah.
All Charles has ever done.
Yeah. So to me, it felt like, to be honest, like a very not a slap in the face, but a very just Japanese thing to do. Like, you know what? Like, who's the biggest star in Hollywood? Let's get them to be Mario.
Okay. Well, I did see something though that made me laugh. I was like, if you're going to cast Charlie Day as Luigi, why not Danny DeVito as Mario?
I saw that too, and I don't,
that made me chuckle.
It would be funny, but I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think that he'd be a good cast. See, I think he'd be a better Bowser. I think Danny DeVito would be a fantastic Bowser. That'd be really fun. But yeah, I don't know. I think all in all, really the only one that was questionable to me was Chris Pratt, and that's just because I'm not familiar with his voice acting chops, but he's talented, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's like the Sonic movies. I think it's just going to be one that I wait for to come on streaming, and I'll watch it once and probably never again. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's entertainment for the sake of entertainment.
Yeah.
I think Hollywood is finally coming around to the idea that you can have a movie that is strictly entertainment for entertainment's sake.
Agreed. Yeah. Closing out the direct, we had 2 third parts of game trilogies. We got Splatoon 3, which I think actually looks really good. I really like cool. Splatoon 2. I think it's surprisingly good. In fact, I had no interest in the Splatoon games at all, and I don't know why I ended up getting Splatoon 2. I must have been really bored. And I got it, and I was like, oh, this game's actually really, really fun. It's got a really fun and engaging single-player mode, and the multiplayer modes are really fun, too. It's a very unique take on shooters, you know? Because it's less about getting kills and more about, like, controlling area, which is cool. You're, like, painting the map. I think it's very interesting, and there's, you know, various game modes there, too. So that looks cool.
And then a girl with her hair. It's Bayonetta 3.
Yeah,
I was very excited about that.
I just want to, like, let's draw attention to the only person who called that in our group.
Did you call that? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, look, it's Bayonetta 3.
It started. I was like, yo, it's Bayonetta 3. And everyone's like, no, this is Monster Hunter or something. I'm like, what? They already did Monster Hunter.
Something else.
Yeah. Yep.
And at that point, I become bored with the direct and started actually paying attention to what I was doing in Batman.
Yeah.
But, like, I have no connection to Bayonetta.
I've never played one, but people love them, and people have been asking for Bayonetta 3 forever. They announced it a really long time ago, and then there was never any follow-up. I think they announced it like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And there was never any follow-up, and people are like, what the... I guess Bayonetta 3 is dead, and then boom, there they are at the end of that direct. So honestly, I was not expecting much from this direct. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
We did some like theorizing, like what could they be announcing? What could it be? Maybe it's a Zelda thing. That was Josh. And I was like, maybe we get something else. And as like Monster Hunter was like right off the bat. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, that's the Capcom logo. Yeah. And I got all excited, and it wasn't Mega Man.
Right.
So, I was a little sad, but
yeah.
No, I mean, this was a beefy direct. Like, got some cool stuff in there.
It's good. It's good. Right on. So that pretty much wraps it up for the direct. It blew our expectations out of the water, I think, and I'm excited. Absolutely. Always excited for Nintendo stuff, and they keep knocking it out of the park. And as long as they keep doing this, they're gonna continue to like rule the console market to a degree. You know. So. Anywho, moving on, we have a review. This one will be pretty quick. Yes. I wouldn't say it's a throwaway, but it's whatever. So we'll switch to it. It's one of my Samurai Saturday games. So let's switch over here. Boom. So today I will be reviewing Samurai Western. Yeah. Samurai Western is a spin-off of maybe my favorite series of video games of all times. Way of the Samurai. Though this takes a very different approach, a much more arcadey approach to it, whereas the Way of the Samurai games are they're like very light RPG, with a little bit of like a Grand Theft Auto in the without stealing cars, and so it's hard to explain, honestly, this style of those games. They're short. They're like anywhere from a half hour to maybe like 2 to 3 hours long. They've got a bunch of different endings, and the whole point is to just go and role play as a samurai. Okay. But this, like I said, takes a very different approach to it, where you're kind of playing like an arcade version of like the classic movie Red Sun, which, if you don't know what that movie is, it's a Charles Bronson, Toshiro Mifune movie. If you've ever seen actually Shanghai Noon's a remake of Red Sun, only with a Chinese character instead of a Japanese character. And then it's also much funnier because the original was more of a drama than a comedy for sure. But it's got 2 of my favorite actors of all times, Toshiro Mifune and Charles Bronson, which is awesome. So the gameplay you're seeing right here, I recorded earlier today because my streams of this had expired. So I just played a couple of the bonus levels, which are extremely hard. So you'll just see me goofing around. But like I said, it's a very arcadey game. It's got a fun little story that you go through. Kind of, spaghetti western with a samurai thrown in, right?
So good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a very, very fun game. This was developed by Acquire and Spike. And I don't remember who brought it over to America, but that's not a huge deal. This released on January 1st, 2005 for the PlayStation 2. Now, I obviously played this in an emulator because my PlayStation 2 is long gone, but I did own this game. And that's why the graphics look a little better, because I was able to up-res it. Let's see. Anything else that should be noted about this game? It only released on the PlayStation 2, to my knowledge. That's where you can get it. And this was actually, what's funny? This game, I didn't know this, but apparently it was kind of like a cult classic, or like maybe like a sleeper, because I tried to rebuy this game. And where I've been able to buy other PlayStation games brand new in the package for like very inexpensive, this one's like $500 in like a CD case.
What?
So like this game is very hard to find, and if you do find it, it ain't cheap, which is wild to me.
That's nuts.
But yeah, what do I like about the game? It is just stupid fun. Like, as you can see, I'm like dodging bullets and deflecting them with a freaking sword. Just running around doing all that stuff in the Wild Wild West. It's very, very
So
good fun. Silly violence, and you see the blood splurts and everything, and it's all contained in this fun, like, arcadey, episodic, you go from level to level, and there's exposition before each thing, so you're able to very easily track the story as you go through. Let's see what else is fun about it. The mechanics are pretty easy. There's some fun customizable stuff. You can put on different like costumes and silly like aesthetic stuff that also contribute to your stats. So some things will like improve your strength or your speed, or your whatever it is, defense. And like some of them can be very silly. You can get like birds to sit on you or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all sorts of fun stuff. So that's pretty cool. And there's also a whole bunch of different weapons that you can get, and different swords will give you different attack styles as well. So that's pretty cool too. What do I not like about this game? It's very much a departure from the source material, being the Way of the Samurai games. And I like the RPG aspects of Way of the Samurai, and I think that still would have been fun in this game, and that's not really there. It's really just you go from level to level, and do your thing. Another thing that I don't like about this game, but could have been really cool, is this game's actually 2-player co-op.
Oh.
I don't have any gameplay of that, but basically, you've got your main character, and then there's also, he's got a cowboy, homie that you can play as a second player. The problem is the camera does not work properly when you're playing co-op, and so it's just a really I mean, as you can see right here, the camera's following your main character.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, and it's been years since I played co-op in this, but if I'm remembering correctly, there's no split screen. And the camera follows the main character. And so often the side character will be off screen or like in awkward positions, and it's kind of a disaster.
That reminds me in a strange way of like NHL 94
Mm-hmm.
when you like you have to be on the same screen.
Yeah. So it's that's rough. That's another thing that I say, that could have been very cool, but I think they really dropped the ball and they kind of shoehorned that feature in. Which is a bummer. Another cool thing about this game that I forgot to mention, and you can kind of see that in that custom rules screen that they just showed, is once you've beaten a stage, you can go back and replay it and change the rules to give yourself like handicaps and stuff, and that will increase your score. And like the higher scores you get on certain stages, the more items you'll unlock, which is also cool. And you can also unlock other bonus stages as well.
Sure.
Let's see here. Moving along, how is the gameplay? Is it fun? Yeah, the gameplay's fun. It's very basic, but it's fun. It's functional. And, especially for the time, the graphics were good. It was just a fun little jaunt, I would say.
Sure.
The art is fine. I wouldn't say it's anything spectacular, but it's definitely good. And again, this is PlayStation 2 era. So for the time, you can see on the screen, it looks pretty darn good for a PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah.
The music is exceptional, actually. The music is very good. And this is something that I think carries over from the Way of the Samurai games. Those games have always had really fantastic music. It's kind of like, traditional Japanese music mixed with like cool, like, synth guitars and things like that. And it sounds really cool. It's very cool music. And it definitely fits the setting in a weird way. Especially because this game makes no attempt at being realistic, right? So, so that's fun. Sound design is not as good as the music. Sound design's kind of basic, and that's also something that I think carries over from the Way of the Samurai games. The sound design's not. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not standout in any way. How long did it take to beat? I think I beat this game in I played it on stream and I got through it pretty quick. I think you can beat this game probably in like 4 to 6 hours pretty easily, especially if you're just grinding through it. But it's very replayable. So that's something that I would say is something good about the game that I can definitely say. Would I play a sequel? Oh, the next question is, was the game difficult? It can be very difficult, actually, especially in the later levels. It can be very difficult. And as you can see, I mean, this level that I'm playing right now is another bonus level. It's not particularly hard, but some of these bonus levels are exceptionally hard.
Yeah.
But, you can change the difficulty levels, and, you can also, especially once you've beaten a level, you can adjust, with those game options as well. To kind of like curtail your experience to how you want that level to play. Which is good. Would I play a sequel? Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there ever would be a sequel.
Right. At this point, yeah.
Especially since they've basically killed the Way of the Samurai series too. Yeah. Which is unfortunate. So to see any more spin-offs, there was a recent spin-off of Way of the Samurai. I forget what it's called. I've got it on my Switch, but my Switch isn't on me right now. And it's like a top-down, almost like Diablo-like. It's kind of fun. And that was released.
I play that.
Yeah, that was released a few years ago. And it's okay.
Sure.
But I think they're done with Way of the Samurai, unfortunately. So we're not going to see any more of this, which is a bummer. My overall rating and impression for this game, I would say this game's a solid 7.
Sure.
Which I think is a good score. I know it might sound a little low, but if you think about it, like
we keep saying that, but like a 7 is on our ranking. That's good.
I think so too. I think we just we pick a lot of exceptional games, which is why a lot of our games tend to be much higher. But even like our recent Mega Man reviews and stuff, which those are some of our favorite games on the planet, and we gave those 8s. So I think this is a solid 7. I think a flat score of 7 is a little bit of an amateur score, but I think that like, you know, to give it like a 7.5 or something would be kind of disingenuous. So like there's
what was it I gave Space Marine? Like it was a something 0.3.
Sure.
Or what, I don't know, whatever I reviewed last.
I don't remember.
But like, yeah, not every game has to be perfectly on the line, but occasionally we do have ones that fall, at exactly a 7.0.
Right. So if you want to play a game that's like just a like really silly but fun action, like kind of arcadey style game in a setting that's very unique, right? Samurai in the Wild Wild West. Like, this game's definitely worth checking out. Though emulation might be your best option. We don't condone illegal, copies and stuff, but like this game's like $500. So
yeah, something needs to be done about this.
Yeah,
this is an problem.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, is it worth, if you can find a cheap copy of this game and you got a way to play it, for sure, pick it up, especially because it's probably going to be worth something. But yeah. Anywho,
start looking at your junk stores and your
vintage stock, places like that, whatever. Actually,
stores,
it's probably expensive at vintage stock, but anyway, that about wraps that up. That was our review for the week. Let me switch back here.
It's a lot quicker without Josh.
Yeah. Well,
sorry,
I figured,
Josh, we love you.
Yeah, that was going to be a quick review anyway. That game, it doesn't have a whole ton of substance to it, but it is very fun. That's why I think it's like a perfect 7. It's a very fun game. It definitely has its issues. In fact, that last level you saw me playing, I think that level's glitched. Like I tried playing through that game or that level before, and I cleared out all the enemies and I couldn't find any more, and it would not finish the level. So like it's not a perfect game by any stretch, but it's extremely fun, especially if you want kind of like a mindless action game like that. And it's very unique too. It's not like the Warriors games, which have like their very established style, though it kind of scratches that same itch. Do I want to go, kill some like absurd amount of people in about 5 minutes? So it still scratches that itch, but in a different way. So it's pretty cool. We have a topic. We're gonna wrap up the show tonight with our topic. Probably we might bring this one up again, I would say, especially since we're at an hour. Actually, you know what? Since we're at an hour right now, why don't we just let's tease it. We're gonna tease the topic.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds
and then
good.
we'll talk about it when Josh comes back on the show. The topic we're going to talk about is flow state in video games.
Yes.
Which
is a topic that Josh and I have talked a ton about in the last couple of weeks.
Right, and I think that I think it's a very important kind of state of mind to become familiar with if you're a gamer. Even in games like the one I was that just reviewed, there's certain moments where I think flow state is important. And, I mentioned at the top of the show that I kind of experienced a little bit of it when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima the other day. I was doing these archery challenges, right? And in order to get complete those archery challenges, you have to hit all of the targets in 7 seconds or under 7 seconds, right? Yeah. And I definitely had to kind of like woo-saw and like get into that flow state to complete those, which
so the Blake in the chat asks, what does flow state mean? It's that sort of like, okay, everything's gone wrong. I've tried this a billion times. I'm at my limit with this, and all of a sudden, just some part of your brain just clicks in. You go into this weird like. It almost looks and feels like the Sherlock Holmes bullet time thing.
Sure.
And you just, everything slows down and you just hit every single beat and everything goes exactly, or maybe not exactly as planned, but like so close to exactly right.
Yeah. It's like a mind drug, Blink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one of the things that I've always like equated it to is that scene in The Last Samurai where Tom Cruise is getting his ass
Yes.
kicked
Yes.
with the boken, the training swords, and
Yep.
the kid comes up to him and he's like no mind, whatever. He's like telling him basically to like, stop thinking and just do it, right? And that's what this is. It's that state of mind you get into when you just like you literally flow, and it's not you doing it. It's something else. It's like your instincts driving you forward through that moment.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So that can be very valuable in video games. Anyway, we're going to talk about that more on the next show, probably.
Yeah, because we really wanted Josh to be here for that, just because he just experienced it with Mega Man,
Yeah.
and I just had it happen in Space Marine. It's like, we've all had it happen recently. We really, really, really wanted Josh to be part of that discussion.
Sure.
And we took longer than we expected to break down the Nintendo Direct. So
yeah, which is fine. It's good. It's a good show. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. This is Difficult Podcast. If you're watching this live right now, you're on my Twitch channel. I play video games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, though that may change very soon. I might switch that to Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hey, that's my slot.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna probably start training with my old martial arts instructor on Mondays and Wednesdays. So, yeah, I may be switching. They usually keep it relatively short, so maybe I'll just wait till your show's over to go live.
That also would be perfect.
If I do end up on Thursdays. So that's likely. It's not set in stone right now, but that may change. And that's when I usually do my whatever game I'm playing as a story, right? So right now that's Kena Bridge of Spirits, and will be Metroid Dread when that game comes out. I also Adam and I are trying to more consistently do Brawler Bros, so that will kind of be whenever, but keep an eye out for that. And let's see what else. Saturdays we always do Samurai Saturday. Very fun. Play a samurai game every time, which is where Samurai Western came into play there. And then of course back here on Sunday nights for the podcast. So you can find me there. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, please share it. It's the most important thing to us. Just get the word out. We really appreciate that. We appreciate any other interaction on there as well, but that's the one that helps us out the most. And if you want to yell at me on Twitter, you can. My Twitter is right down there. So, Zach, where can we find you, man?
In between sneezes, you can find me at twitch.tv/another letdown. Because I'm moving to the new place, I don't know if we'll be live this week. But if we are, and fingers crossed, like everything looks like it's going to happen fine. Gear Up will be Thursday night, and then we've got Tabletop Simulator board games on Friday. I believe we're playing Mansions of Madness again this week, which is always a good time. And then I will not be live for painting this week because I will be visiting some friends in the state of Maine, the great state of Maine.
Excellent.
Yeah. But I will be back here. And I will not be here for the podcast next week. We'll see if it actually happens.
Yeah, we might take next week off. We'll keep you guys posted. But we'll let you guys know ahead of time. All the socials and everything should be in the chat there if you're watching this live and you haven't joined us on those things there. And we'll see you guys next week, probably, maybe, or then a week after. All right. Good night, guys. Thank you.